Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Standing Stones. We're on episode 3, and we finally got to the other side of the barrier last week. So I'm really excited to find out what's going to happen this week. It's going to be a lot of fun. Before we jump into all that, though, I'm going to say a quick word about sponsors, and then let everybody introduce themselves and their characters, and then we'll pass it on to Calliope to take it away. So first of all, sponsors. First one being Fundamental RPG, which looks like this. You can get your copy on Amazon. Just search for Fundamental RPG or Raven Evermore. It should pop right up. And if you prefer digital versions, then you can get that at coffee.com/raven/shop. Like it says at the bottom of the screen, just add /shop to the end of that. And then you can also get Intrepid stuff there, which is really cool adventuring gear for real life, drinkware and apparel and accessories and things like that with a tabletop theme. Very cool stuff. And then finally, Die Hard dice, which are phenomenal dice. Anytime I have to roll physical dice, it's usually Die Hard. It's almost exclusively what's in my dice bag right now. But they sent me this really cool rainbow set. I've been keeping it at my desk and rolling those so far this month. It's the prismatic rainbow set. It's really pretty. It's harder to see the colors on camera, but in person they're just gorgeous. You can get your own set at dieharddice.com. Use the code BlackFeatherMay, all one word, capital B, capital M, and you can get 10% off your order. And then if you want to catch up with this show or others on the channel, you can do so at the Fantasy Network at watch.thefantasy.network. That's where all of our VODs will be, and you can watch all that over there for free. It's very cool stuff. All the sponsor stuff out of the way, let's start with the top left with Zan. Tell us a little bit about Finn and yourself.
Yeah, great. I'm Finn. No, I'm Zan. I'm playing Finn. I'm a professional DM and content creator for 5e World of Darkness, powered by the Apocalypse, and a whole bunch of other really cool stuff out there. You can find me most of the time here over on Polished Cryptid channel or over on a Tactics channel. Or tomorrow, for the first time doing an RPG on my channel, I'll be running Pilot Hill, which is going to be a weird, spooky, fun time. And I'm playing Finn, who is water, mostly water and anxiety. And we saw a weird, reckless side of Finn last week when Finn kind of let everyone, Finn wasn't super empathetic about other people's abilities and what they could and couldn't do, and kind of let everybody into a really dangerous situation and didn't realize it until halfway fucking through. So we're gonna see where that goes. And yeah, that's it.
Fantastic. Next we've got Icy Historian. Tell us a little bit about Veshna and yourself.
All right, team, how's it going? I am Icy Historian. Icy Historian, all the places on the internet that I feel like being found. And I'll be playing Veshna Brevik. Tonight, Veshna Brevik is the sort of Harriet the Spy character who seems to know everything all of the time and has a read on every bit of drama happening in the town, and also has a sort of gift to talk her way out of some difficult situations, but unfortunately cannot talk herself out of a tunnel under a river. So that was kind of rough. And we found out that Veshna is a little claustrophobic. And by a little claustrophobic, we mean a lot claustrophobic. And Fenn, last session, was kind enough to turn Veshna into a, well, not quite human, fox girl-ish torpedo, which was a lot of fun because it didn't result in drowning. So yeah, that's what I'm up to.
Awesome. Next, we'll hop over to Jay. Tell us a little bit about Beckney and yourself.
Hello, I'm Jay, or Alien Jays. I don't go by J Alien anymore anywhere. You can find me on Twitter at itch.io at Alien Jays, and I'm a game dev and an actor and whatever the fuck else I am today. I'm playing Beckney today, who is a goblin who was raised as a pangolin. Almost said armadillo there. Who is the sibling to Pat's character, who actually is a pangolin, and together they get up to all kinds of nonsense and trouble nonsense. They were injured in their kind of early years, not right away at birth, but very, very young, during a magical experiment gone wrong of their own devise, which they didn't realize they'd done, and they are missing most of their right arm, I think kind of forearm down, and their sight has been severely impaired because of it. But despite all that, they're still raring to go, and they still do very silly, dangerous, and inventive things.
Yep. Love that. So next is me. I am Raven. I'm the creative director for the Raven Evermore, which is my brand for all the various things I do, most of which are tabletop related. I've got my link tree there in chat, and then I play Callie, or Cauliflower is her full name. She is your basically a very tropey shonen anime protagonist. She's got a tail. She likes to fight things. She's not very bright, but she cares a whole lot, and generally has, like, you know, the whole heart of gold thing. She's a lot of fun to play. But that's me and Callie. Next, we would normally have Pat with Pyron. Pat wasn't able to make it, but you should definitely go check out his stuff at Attack Trick. I believe it's spelled the same on Twitter and Twitch. You should check out both because he's pretty awesome. And we should see him next week. And then Hannah, tell us a little bit about Sage and yourself.
Greetings, mortals. My name is Hannah, or Woe Hannah on the internet. And today I will be playing Sage, who is a fawn. And the anxious parental of the group. Not actually an adult, still very much just a dumb teenager, but the healer and feels responsible for everyone's well-being type. And last week I got stuck in kelp. We're having a grand time.
I'm sorry.
I can't believe this is just your bedroom.
Hey, we all need a little kelp sometimes. On that note, Calliope.
We get by with
Oh
a
my
little
god,
kelp.
that took me it.
Darn it! I unmuted solely for that.
Algae, what you did there? Oh,
Oh, jeez. On that note, Calliope, tell us a little bit about yourself and take it away.
Seaweed got off to a bad start, but I think we're gonna do better. No. Hello, I'm Calliope. I am the storyteller of this crew. I am a middle school teacher and PhD student and general knower of things and doer of stuff, and very busy and very tired, but happy to be here. And today I'm super excited because our band of effervescent young youths has made it through the barrier, the big thing that they are not supposed to do with their lives. How they're gonna get back, I'm not sure. Are they ever going back? We don't know. But we have lots of adventures in store, and we're really excited to have you here. Young youths, yes, as opposed to old youths or middle-aged youths. Yep.
I feel like that's some sort of name.
Young youths.
Or the young youths.
It's
Thanks,
the
Evan.
it's like the Cub Scout version of the other kids who are not your friends. League of the Other Children Who Are Not Your Friends. The Cub Scouts are the young youths. So yes, so we are super excited, and that's everybody, right? So we're just gonna get started.
It is, yeah.
So when we last left our band of young youths, they had just popped their heads out of the water and were in Fenn's secret cove. And so when you look around here, this is that sort of weird, the acoustics of this place are that weird combination of quiet and drippy that tanks or, you know, like sort of enclosed places with water are. So it's sort of oddly still, but also sort of echoey. When you talk, it's definitely echoey. It's a cave structure, and there's some like stalactites and stalagmites and sort of cave-ish things. There is some light from above. It is not a completely enclosed cave structure, although it is mostly. And the water here is very, very gentle. There's either some sort of very small river rivulet that's come off that's sort of gently coming down here, or there's a little spring that feeds into the larger river. But here is an offshoot that is much calmer. You've gotten through the really sort of tough part, and now there's just a lot of pools. And as you sort of start to haul yourselves out, there's some like Spanish moss and maybe some interesting glowing mushrooms and sort of little skittery animals, but it's certainly not like creepy. It might be a little, it's a little odd there, and it's very aquatic, but it's not like a creepy cave. It's just sort of much like Fen, just sort of odd. So as you pull yourselves up sort of onto the out of this deep pool, you can see that going up ahead are a series of pools. There are some rocks kind of between them. This is a primarily underwater place. The pools, some of them are sort of shallow, think sort of like rice paddies. Others are deeper, maybe like a hot tub kind of depth, but there's not anything that's super deep. Fen, why don't you describe a little bit about what your room looks like?
Yeah, sure thing. So in addition to the hanging moss, there is also one vine of wisteria, because what is my day without having a reminder? As far as the rest of it goes, it's dimly illuminated by like the hole in the ceiling, so there's a real soft glow like that coming from the mushrooms, and it looks like some of the stone pathways that are above the water were intentional, like maybe Finn expected to have guessed at some point, but not really a purpose for Finn to have them. So they probably have not been tested, so who knows if they're sturdy or not. But yeah, it is just a very quiet, calm place that there's a consistent like trickle, a steady drip. It is just, there's a lot of very quiet, steady background noise there. And I think every so often there's the quick sound of something's tail like breaking the water in a shallow pool. If anybody looks over, it looks like there are kind of glowing things in some of the pools swimming around together. And yeah, a few main big pools like Calliope mentioned, and just one or two very, very small ones off to the side. And yeah, I mean, it looks like things that you would find in kind of a teenager's room. There's some string instruments that maybe look like they might vibrate underwater, but who knows if they've been used or not. Just like some dyes, some pressed flowers and things. Not really chairs. It is looks like a comfortable place to sit and wait for time to pass.
I think there might be a Wisteria concert poster up that has like 3 tacks, and one of us going down, and someone has drawn glasses and like really angry eyebrows and like a big mustache and like a little beard on Wisteria, or maybe like a little hat or something.
Little diabolic goatee.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. So, what do you think? Like, you've just sort of undergone this big trial. You're all here. You're safe. What do you do?
Welcome to my room.
Your
I don't have any
bedroom
chairs.
is on the other side of the barrier?
Well, bedroom is a weird phrase. But like, yeah, there's kind of a place for everything in the keep, and I wasn't expected. So, I mean, actually, yeah, no, it's just here feels fine, feels natural.
Have you gone out of this?
Oh no. This is fine. This is nice. You know? I'm comfortable here.
So we don't even know if we can get out.
Well, there's a hole, and we have rope, so maybe, but I don't know. Possibly. I hope. I think we can. I mean, the hole's kind of big.
Zan, can I ask you an above the table question?
Yeah.
Does Fen still have anything that Wisteria gave them?
No, so I was in the midst of typing that out. I was distracted with making vocal words. No, they lost most of the
Okay.
accoutrement that was lent to them when they blocked the tunnel up.
Okay.
Um,
So I think that
you're- your good friend actually managed to save something for you.
That's
Big-
right. I don't remember what it was, but I know I
I don't
remember
either.
that. That's fine.
I'm sure it was great. It was the best
Yeah.
the best part of the outfit.
100%. It was lovely. Yeah, no, they're like they've got just a few things, like some of the lighter stuff hanging on, but most of the heavy stuff got just cast down with the current.
So I imagine Veshna in sort of like, I just embarrassed myself by feeling feelings mode, is like going to try and be like, I don't know, feeling like weirdly irritated at Wisteria's need to like decorate their sibling. So I think, but also Veshna, again, not having much to fiddle with in the bedroom of a water-based creature that is not her. So she's going to sort of like, some of the like more egregious bits that hung on that were very clearly like, I'm trying to make you look like me because, you know, that's not psychologically dangerous. She's going to start sort of like picking them out and setting them on something.
The good news is that you only really like showed feelings in front of probably the two most understanding of that sort of thing in the group. The anxious ones.
Mm-hmm.
That's still too much.
That's fair. I understand. No
So
one
they-
can know.
Yes. So I think she's muttering as she does it, like just under her breath, and puts
And
them in a pile.
Finn just kind of freezes when you start pulling them off, like that weird perfectly still that humans don't do, that things that breathe don't do, just perfectly statue still.
So
and then I
I'm
guess once-
imagining as this is happening, Pyron and Beckney, there are a lot of really weird things in here that have a lot of potential. There are glow-in-the-dark mushrooms. There are pools filled with stuff that moves and glows. There are rocks you can jump on. Way down at the end, there seems to be some sort of like not like pillar of light, but the light coming from above. It's the end part is very much Ocarina of Time when you blow up the rock and you go down into the cave underneath, right? And it sort of has that gentle light, and sometimes there's a cow. There's no cow, but it's that idea.
Cenote.
No cow. So, but you can see that's further down. You can't really quite see it because there's some boulders in the way or whatever, but there's like a lot of stuff here. So while they're having sort of a moment, what do you guys do?
I think Callie is looking at the glowing mushrooms, and I think she like picks up a few of them, almost puts one in her mouth, and then like realizes, oh wait, manners, and looks to Fen and goes, "Are these for snacking? And is it okay if I have one?"
I don't know.
Can I know?
Yes, you would know for sure.
Are they dangerous to eat?
You do not eat glow in the dark mushrooms. This is like not a great
Sometimes
idea.
you can eat glow in the dark. I feel like Sage is gonna be like, no, and like maybe like just like do it like just a light tap, like please don't eat those. Those are they taste bad and also will make you sick.
Aw, but they look shiny. They're really cool.
Maybe
All right.
maybe Fen is using them as a light. It would be rude to get rid of that light source.
Oh, you're right. Oh, I'm being
It's
silly.
okay.
Hold on. And Callie's gonna like obviously fail at this, but very carefully try to like put the mushrooms back.
I actually
Bless Callie.
really like the idea that Callie tries to put them back and they won't stay, so she just sort of smushes them really hard against the wall, and then they stay, and then like, you know.
Probably won't like smush them because she doesn't want to like break it or anything. But I think if they won't like stand up on their stems like they're supposed to, she'll just like flip them upside down and just stick them back on the little cap part and be like, that's close enough.
Perfect. Beckney and Pyron, what shenanigans have you gotten into as everybody else is looking around?
At least me, I'm touching like all of the things, because this is like the first time in this friend's room, and we have to see all the cool stuff and like toys and gadgets and things. So like everything is getting a poke, because like maybe stuff does cool stuff, but we just can't see it until we get it to do the stuff.
You're
So
never
when you
coming
put-
to my room.
So when you put your
That's
hands,
a good move.
your little pangolin hands, pangolin hands, I can never say that word, in there, they get nibbled like a lot by the fish in there, but it's like the nibbling of like the fish that give you that fish foot
Yes.
massage thing. It's not like they're not piranhas, they're just curious, and it feels weird. And so you see these fish and they are remarkable. They're beautiful, they are iridescent, they sort of glow under their own power, and they're similar to what you've seen before, like in the river, but they're much fancier. And so I sort of feel like they're kind of souped up betta fish, maybe, like lots of tail, lots of beauty.
Like with kind of somewhere between like cuttlefish and hypnotoad, like swirls and patterns. And yeah, I think in that particular pool it's kind of a blue pattern that looks almost like it's rolling over itself down their body when like they start to nibble on you when they get excited, just kind of a rolling blue wave down their length.
I sort of like the idea that maybe, Ben, maybe you come over like Whistle and they kind of organize themselves into a magic eye picture. Right?
I think that's cool, yeah.
Wait, are all the fish on this side of the barrier this cool? Like, do we only get like boring fish?
Have you trained them to do that?
Well, I kind of bred them, so they act different on this side, and look different and seem a little smarter. So these fish have spent their whole time here.
Yes, Beckney.
How did you get the breading to stick?
There's no breading?
Well, you said you
What?
bred them.
Oh,
BRED, so breed.
yeah, well, Yeah.
He thinks back to the very boring lecture that they were given by their professor there, the tutor that was both completely boring and utterly horrifying and was blocked out about breeding.
Just gonna put that one back in the vault. That one doesn't need to come back out. No.
Yeah. Yeah, it's these are called the I call these the wave fins because they kind of have the waves going off their fins. Over there around in that pool is the bonfires because they kind of like around their gills kind of gets red and then goes yellow as it goes down. There's a couple of others I don't really have names for yet, but they're, I try to take care of them and look after them, and they're nice. I keep them safe and healthy, and they have a nice one, I guess.
Everyone roll. Maybe let's try a gut feeling.
Everyone do a barrel roll.
Everyone roll a front roll or a back
Do a barrel
tuck.
roll. Hey, gut feelings one I'm actually decent at. Nope, not today I'm not though.
Okay. Beckney and Sage got this covered. And also Zan. Fen. Zanfen. Xanax?
The Xanax nickname has been one that I've had for
As soon as I said
a
it, I'm
long
like,
time.
he's probably heard that a lot.
Yeah, it has influenced my recreational activities quite a bit over the years.
Mm.
You are, this is like a really weird experience. It's amazing. It's like discovering your best friend lives in a mansion full of weird psychedelic fish. And it's absolutely breathtaking. And sort of like you went to, through the looking glass, but you also don't feel great. Like, the longer you look at the magic eye, the sort of weirder you feel. And, Fen, you're fine. You're sort of used to that. Callie and Vashna, you really have, no idea why you don't feel good. And, Pyron and Beckney and Sage, it's probably not the fish, but there's something sometimes when you feel fine and then all of a sudden you have this rolling wave of sickness and you're like, oh crap, here we go. It feels kind of like that, but not exactly. It's weird. Vashna, what do you do? I see historian.
I unmute is what I do.
Good call.
So I think Vashna, feeling ill, right? I think it's gonna sort of break her looking at anything, right? She's gonna kind of close her eyes and sort of try and let the feeling pass and say just sort of say out loud Fen, if hypothetically, if you had a digestive system akin to say mine. And
There's a compost thing over there.
cool.
There's some dead fish though, so like, I mean, just it's, you know, fertilizer for the food that the fish eat. I'm really sorry. I don't have a toilet. I didn't think about that.
You know, I didn't build my house for Chanticleer, the Raven Brood. So I wouldn't expect you to have not your people stuff. And I think she's really awkwardly like in that way where you're like, I'm 100% not about to throw up. You're about to throw up. What do you mean I'm about to throw up? Sort of that very stiff walk of like, everything's great. I'm just going over here and counting the minutes until my innards revolt against me. I think that's she's just sort of going to like delicately maneuver herself in that direction and like wait for what is
So
to
it's-
come.
So, Sage, I think you also do not feel very good. And as you sort of kneel down, maybe your head's spinning a little bit, and you put your hands on the rock, and what grows?
Sage.
Okay, that makes sense. As you do this, sage grows out of the rock. Around the ends of your fingers.
I knew it! I knew magic was real!
What?
I don't feel so good. I just grew some. It's sage. And I'm just gonna like fade into the water.
Oh no. Just liquid, just like the aquatic part of a water slide just kind of torrents over. Make sure that, you know, Sage's face stays out of the water.
Thank
I
you.
have an idea if this would be okay for Callie's magic to sort of manifest. Callie just flies over to catch Sage along with Fen without realizing, like, wait, how did I do that?
I love it. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So how about Sage, when they flop over into the pond or into, like, maybe it's not the actual fish one, but another one, it's sort of like a double-decker pond. So they sort of flop and then blop. And so as Fen goes to catch them, Callie sort of goes as the crow flies and gets there first.
Okay,
Or right at the same time.
perfect. Yeah, we can catch them together.
I totally like the idea of Callie beating me. I think that is so narratively interesting.
Yeah, I think Callie like scoops her tail down to like catch Sage, and Callie's hovering in the air, and then after a second realizes what just happened and just like, wait, Sage, are you conscious? Because does touching glowing mushrooms make you fly? Is this why they call it being high? What's going on?
And then I think you fall down. Like
Perfect.
just like in the cartoons where they run out and then they look down and fall. So Sage is sort of half passed out. Veshna's feeling sick. Callie just flew. What are Beckney and Pyra doing? And then I do want to see how Veshna's magic manifests. Other than puke.
Pat, if you got something, you go ahead. I'm waiting for my time.
Not yet. I don't.
Okay, I'll take it. So Beckney's like sat down because of all this kind of bleh feeling going on, and they're listening to everything going on. Like, okay, clearly someone just passed out in the water. What's going on over there? And they hear Callie kind of like whoosh overhead, more than anything, just like feel the air kind of waft by, and they go like to scratch at their face with one hand, and then the scratch, like the itch kind of goes to, you know, when you itch one part of your body, another part starts like,
Yes.
oh, me too. So they scratch this part of their face, and the other part starts itching, and they just go, and there's stone fingers scratching the other side of their face. They've like dug out part of the ground, and it's just kind of molded onto what was their elbow and is now like an extension of rock on their face. And they do that, and it takes them a minute to be like, guys, is there an arm where my arm should be? And they're kind of holding it at length because they're like, I don't want to look crazy, but I think I've just lost it. I think I've just officially lost it. So yeah, they're just waiting to get confirmation that there is in fact, or isn't.
While you're thinking about that for a second, so tell me a little more about this arm. Is it? I wonder if it's made of like the small rocks that would be at the bottom of the pool, like
yeah,
to form a conglomerate.
I think it's very much like a pebbled kind of thing. It's not like it's
that
fused.
a lot.
It's very much just like someone made an arm out of like little pebbles all together. Yeah.
I love that, and that allows it to move too in a way that makes sense.
Yeah, it doesn't feel comfortable on the arm though, because it's like someone rolling pebbles over the nub. So it's like
Does
And
it
it
also
shifts
kind of
every time
maybe
it moves.
tickle a little?
a little.
like,
It tickles, but
weirdly?
it's
Like,
yeah, it tickles. It feels weird.
You know, like
and
uncomfortably.
when the arm moves, it sounds kind of like a mix between a rain stick and like pebbles stuck in a boot. Like it's just got that sound of like little rocks rolling over each other.
Pyron, your sibling just had an arm.
Mhm.
What do you do?
Magni, you're doing, how are you doing? That's so cool. And I think as I'm like highlighting it, like lights start reflecting off of the fish, and like it almost creates like that laser show sometimes you see on stage when it's like high spot. So like as I'm pointing it out, I'm like spotlighting effects onto Beckney, and they're getting like a bit of a spotlight on them and like a laser show behind them to attract more eyes to them.
Right, and maybe Sage like wakes up a little bit and is like, with like the laser show, and like even though is kind of mostly unconscious, like cannot stop looking. Like everyone's sort of attracted to it against their will. Veshna, what happens to you? You walked over to the corner to puke, but instead, or maybe you do puke.
So
Rainbow.
I think Veshna expects 100% that like I think in Veshna's sort of anxious, middle school fox girl mind, oh my god, not only did I totally embarrass myself in front of the entire planet, 3 people, I am now also about to vomit up my skeleton. I should go home. I shouldn't be here. What the hell am I doing? What's wrong with me? I should go embroider. Like, I think this is sort of like spiraling inner monologue. And so I think she sort of like leans over and is doing in her head this like counting to sort of try and calm her like stomach, try and calm herself down, like, and it turns into like a 5, 6, 7, 8, and she starts like doing this like dance routine, and like it kind of comes out and is like doing this whole thing with like tail moves, and like I imagine like a Singing in the Rain sort of situation, like swinging around like a rock column. And I think as soon as she sort of like realizes she did it, she sort of like mid kick out, leaning on like some sort of rock situation.
I think it's happening. The fish jump out and form like a rainbow around you, of like rotating rainbow of beautiful fish. Like in it's sort of a la Be Our Guest.
Yes. Yeah. I definitely, and I feel like because like if we were going with some like if we were going to like put a fine point on it, all of the fish creatures that would be considered like lower, if they had stats, would have lower intelligence, are like totally smitten and like have a little like Finn hat and cane routine going on behind her, like. And then I think she doesn't even like really process it. She goes, Becky, where'd you get a rock arm? And then she sort of like looks around and sees that she's doing this like perfect mid fan kick, like leaning off of this wall. Like, that's a really great rock arm.
And I think as everyone like really looks at what they're doing, it falls apart. Right? The arm, the
Yep.
kick, all the fish are like doing their thing and they all just sort of fall down and start swimming. Everybody. And it is really weird.
I think Beckney actually
okay?
instinctively reaches with what used to be the rock arm for the rock arm that has now collapsed to the ground. So like, and they go for with the left arm like, and they just start pocketing the pebbles because they're convinced it's the rocks that did the magic. They're like, no, surely, like, come on.
Yeah, Callie's just pulling herself and probably Sage up out of the water. Still looking
Was
very
Callie
warily
still
at those
like?
mushrooms.
Was Callie still flying when it stopped?
No,
Okay.
She flew over, picked up Sage with her tail, and then looked down and realized she was hovering. And then fell.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so she's eyeing the mushrooms very warily. She's convinced that she somehow got a literal contact high from the
That-
mushrooms.
Was magic. That was magic.
So y'all should probably sit down. Are y'all okay? Has this happened before?
I've never touched glowing mushrooms before. I think... no.
Can you do magic, Fen? Have you been able to do magic this whole time? And I, who have wanted to do magic my whole life, you never told.
No, I don't. No, it's not.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. That was angry. I'm very sorry.
No, it's you know, we don't have a lot of folks that are just water, so I do just water person stuff. That's it. No.
Okay. I'm sorry for yelling. That was
No. It's
No, I
fine.
was-
No, I get it. It's
Fen. I'm apologizing.
So
I'm sorry.
as you are having, but Sage, you notice that as you're having this conversation completely absent-mindedly, Ben has picked up a fish that got smushed in the Callie falling down incident from the sky and is holding it, and it is absolutely coming back to life. Like, it was smushed, it was dead, it was very dead, and as Ben's talking to you, like, awkwardly playing with it, it is not dead anymore.
I'd like
I
to
think-
exchange looks with Veshna.
Yeah, I think Veshna kind of comes to stand next to Sage and says very like authoritative, like sort of like babysitterly, even though they're probably like days apart in age. Fen, now we learned in the steps to respect curriculum, it is step 19 that we will respect people of different backgrounds. So I am coming from a place of curiosity. I'm going to use an I statement, and I'm hoping that we can all be here and speak with curiosity. So Fen, I am unfortunately quite ignorant of water person stuff, as you put it, and I am wondering, when does the necromancy come in? And she kinda,
Callie's
like,
gonna
goes-
just like... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
She kind of like sort of like gestures to the fish as if to say like, and exhibit A, counselor.
Yeah, I think completely absentmindedly Finn has just put it back into the pool that it's supposed to go in. It's just like, this is... Well,
Yeah, it like
no.
flips in and like gives you like a fish high five and like a wink, and it just like goes back in and it's totally happy again.
Callie just yells out, like, blurts out really more, like, "Oh wait, no, I heard about this, from a book that Brock was reading out loud, the necromancy, something like that. There was like a neck and like kissing involved. It sounded gross." He likes.
I'm gonna keep that one for later.
Yeah, I think as the like 14-year-old in the group, I think Veshta is gonna be like sort of do the like kombucha face, like. Okay, pin in that parking lot. We're gonna sit on that one. Finn, just another question again, a place of curiosity. And she kind of looks around, like I am wondering, have you ever had cause to revive the dead, as we have seen here, on the side of that we just came from? Like, could you go get Mrs. Fluffy Bottoms out of the box that my dad made me put her in? And could you go do that?
No, I don't think so. I mean, this is Carl. I knew Carl pretty well, so it's not super hard to put Carl back the way that Carl's supposed to be. Carl gets sick sometimes. It's fine. I haven't. No, is the answer. No.
So I think Veshta is going to look very pointedly between a happy Carl and, not to be gross, but a bit of Carl viscera that may have been from the smushing, and just sort of like look from that to Carl, to Fen, to viscera.
I think the viscera is. I like the idea that the viscera is actually on Callie. Like when Callie fell, there's like
there's like a little like a smush, like a little
imprint right here on Callie, and so there's like, and maybe when you look at Carl like gives you a nice little like fish kick.
Yeah,
like, kind of mimics what you did. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I think just kind of trying to get rid of the subject, Finn's gonna walk over to this, like, the one kind of small pool that's a little bit separate, and it's got a little bit more greenery and stuff, and it is the only pool that's not actively glowing. And he's gonna hold their hand down there, and after just a second, you see this real big, gray, not fancy looking fish just slowly swim up and just start swimming real slow around in Finn's chest. No, I haven't. No, that's that's kind of y'all's area. It doesn't really work out there super well. Does it? Calliope? Okay. Yeah, no, I can't. It's like here's where, this is why it's comfortable,
So I think that Veshna is going to sort of smile, very like, very much like, thank you for your time, and going to turn to Sage and say, wow, it's so sad that all of us get magic and Fen doesn't have any magic. That doesn't seem very fair, considering that Fen, is the entire reason we were able to come out here. Maybe we can get Fen some magic. And kind of like, she starts like walking around Fen, like imagining like, and then we could have like a fireworks situation, or maybe we could have like a spectral sword, like water sword. And that's like,
Callie's just standing there like, but Ben, they just brought a fish to life. That seems pretty
How
magical.
astute!
But if that's just normal water person stuff and it's not magic, what if we all, like Veshna is saying, what if we all point our magic at Fen and all try to magic and see if that magics?
So, Callie, I think as you're having this conversation, the less you pay attention to yourself, the more you are hovering like 2 or 3 inches up.
Perfect.
And then like every time you look, you go back down. And when you stop looking, you go up. And you look back down. And at the same time, Sage, I feel like maybe you're tracing like graffiti on the wall. That's moss. Or something like Sage was here, like with your finger, and it's growing plants.
I mean, I
Right?
definitely wouldn't be tracing any words or anything, but like, imagine that like Sage like lean against the wall for a second, like right. Okay.
You know, but just kind of like start to mess with it a little bit. And, Pyron, I feel like maybe I don't know, like what would be a good? I feel like a good use of your lighting, something would be like to like start lighting up people's butts, or like, you know, like making like some sort of weird hat, you know.
I think I was like tapping some of the water in the pool, and then noticed that when I'm making the sounds, I'm getting like some colors with it. Like it's almost
Yeah.
like this physical synesthesia that I can make. And so I think I'm following some people around and like doing that behind them.
Right.
I think as you get to Beckney, you realize like they've kind of shuffled over away from the rocks. They're just like, I don't want anything to do with these weird magic rocks. And they've like kind of seated themselves next to the water, one arm just resting on kind of the surface of it. And as you get to them, they've manifested another arm, this time out of water, that's just resting on the ground like the other one is, and they don't seem to be noticing it. So I'll put this out there, you can tap on that.
You can tap
Yeah.
that.
Ah,
Oh, no.
yes.
They're related.
No, you can't trust tap water.
Oh.
Hey!
I think Callie's very interested in the suggestion that Pyron had, though, that we should, you know, just point our magic at Fen, and it is thinking real hard, and is gonna try to magic at Fen without realizing that when she does that with her magic, it shoots out like a laser beam type thing.
Well, because Veshna's right, it's not fair. Fen should get something.
So Callie's gonna try her hardest to help Finn, and that might be painful.
I'm choosing to allow this to happen.
We're choosing violence today.
Then why don't you roll? You need to roll. The one that's like avoiding it.
Nimbleness.
Nimbleness?
Nimbleness, right? You need to avoid. You need to roll nimbleness.
Oh no! I could also just roll an attack because magic attack is not something that Callie has anything in. Just do an actual combat roll if you'd like. It might give you a better chance to not get hit.
That's okay. I think Fenn's just standing there and suddenly gets like lasered in the chest. Did you roll that? It's not coming through for me.
Me? Yeah, I did. I got a 5.
Okay. The laser directly hits the fish.
Oh
no bubbles.
And the fish and is like steaming and like flips upside down.
No.
That's not what I meant.
No, you heard. No, you heard. Wait. Why did you hurt bubbles?
I
wish
also
I could
feel
give you
like-
magic.
I also feel like Pyron, when
It's
this happens, it's
glowing.
really, really, really well lit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe there's some really amazing background fish that are like singing a sad.
Oh, but when the laser made contact, there was like a confetti cannon of like brightly colored like little plankton that came up. behind
Yes,
it.
exactly. And there's like an up tempo,
Yeah.
like end of Act 1.
There's like a
sad song.
funeral, a
Yeah.
funeral aria in the background in 6 different parts with like, you know, like the choir of fish.
Their little fish heads coming out.
Yeah, Callie runs over to Finn and is just like poking at the spot where the fish is. Like, can you bring the fish back? I'm really sorry. I was trying to give you magic. It did a thing.
Fen, let's see. Let's have you roll a magic roll. Let's see. Can you bring Bubbles back?
Well, yeah. Is that going to be a magic roll or a magic engineering? I'm not sure what the roll is going to be.
Rules as written, yes, that's what that would be.
Magic engineering?
Yeah, just as a heads up
Yeah.
for Calliope. That's rules as
Yes.
written, but you can do it however you like.
No, the ability to use magical resources into spells and magical abilities would be magic under stamina, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, engineering magic, which is a stamina-based skill. Yeah.
Yeah, engineering magic, right? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, 18.
All right.
And
Oh, there it is. Okay, good. They both came up for me. So describe how this happens.
Finn just kind of like stops and panics for a second. You notice that their arms get a tiny bit shorter. They get a little smaller, a little less in their own space than they were a second ago, and the fish that was kind of gray starts to glow again with a kind of an unfamiliar pattern. It looks almost like a crackling purple lightning running down it, and it's just kind of flips, and it looks like after a second the lightning maybe is kind of reflecting some kind of heartbeat, and it surfaces up and starts to swim again, kind of slow about the speed that it was, and as the kind of lightning starts to fade a bit, it starts to swim a little bit healthier, a little bit happier. It's this having it inside is the arthritis medicine. I wasn't really expecting to put any adrenaline in today, but swimming inside is kind of its little bit of it's daily Advil.
It's low resistance physical therapy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If Bubbles could give you the finger, Callie, it would, but it doesn't have any fingers. But you can get the idea that it's the fish
So-
equivalent.
It's still
So would
didn't
you say
work.
it's
Hit it
finished
again.
with Callie?
Yes. Officially.
It's pretty much ready to kill her.
It was feeling very eel after that whole thing.
Oh, not eel, just a little
This-
crabby.
The scales have turned on this one for sure.
Ah. Are you filled with guilt?
A little bit, yeah. Callie's just trying to gently pat the Finn's shoulder, wherever this fish is, assuming it's not in a weird spot. I'm so sorry. I was trying to help.
I actually really like the idea, Callie, that you're trying to pat the fish as it moves. So, sometimes it's fine, and then sometimes it is kind of weird. So you're like, pat, nope. Pat, pat, nope. Just so
Callie
it's
would
really
absolutely do that, yeah.
Please don't do that again. Bubbles was my first friend, and I would be really sad if something happened to him.
I would be sad too. I'm sorry. I won't try to give you magic again. That
Thank
did
you.
not work according to plan.
Yeah. Okay,
So-
well. Y'all wanna play a game or something? I don't know. I didn't really think through what we would do when we got here.
Can we go outside?
Oh. That's really high up.
Oh right, there's a hole in the ceiling.
I'm just gonna turn to Callie, who is probably floating right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna mimic Sage and sort of wait patiently for Callie to pick up on what she just said.
Bad if I jumped off of somebody's shoulders, I could reach up there.
That is
Why do you just think
oblivious.
about Just
Not
try
to
reaching
be-
right now. Just like try. Just think about it. Just try to reach it.
She starts rubbing the back of her head. Think about going through the hole. Would you like me to roll magic engineering for this?
Yes.
Fantastic.
This feels like the highest stakes game of Thread the Needle ever.
17.
Okay, sure. I feel like probably Callie misses the hole a little at first. And just
Okay.
sort of like floats up and maybe bonks her head a little bit, but like is able to sort of like be like, hey, look, I reached it.
Yeah, so yeah, Callie floats up, bonks her head, and rubs the spot where it hit. Like, where'd that rock come from? Oh, well, there's the hole. Hey, Sage, I think the ceiling. Oh. Hey, I'm flying. And she'll fly up the rest of the way through the hole.
So Callie, as you peek through the hole, above is like a whole bunch of scrubby bushes and like some trees and stuff, right? It's the it's sort of like a forested area up there. But I think the most remarkable thing you see when you put your head up there is you see a really, really, really big smile. There's like a sort of vaguely amorphous, shadowy face that has a very, very, very big smile. And it starts laughing. And the laughing echoes down into the thing, into everybody, and everyone can hear the laughing. And that's where we're gonna take a break. Bum, bum, bum!
Hannah is tickled
Fantastic.
pink. Scared. Sage is scared shitless.
Good.
I am terribly pleased about
What
this.
will
though.
it be? You'll have to come back in the second half of
I-
the show to find out.
I'm going to save Callie's reaction until we come back as well. So, excuse me. We'll be back in about 15 minutes. So go grab food or snacks, hydrate, stretch your legs, all that good stuff. And then be back in 15 minutes and we'll find out what this is. Be right back. And we're back. So, there's a big smiling thing staring at me, yeah?
Yeah, so as Callie pops her head out, like right there is this very large face. And it's sort of amorphously shadowy. And it has a very large sort of Cheshire cat. You know when the Grinch thinks of the awful Grinchy plan and this smile goes like up here?
Yeah.
It's like that. And it sees you and it makes this really big grin with this really toothy Cheshire cat smile. And it just sort of looks at you. What do you do?
Callie just waves back and smiles back. It's like, hi, new friend. What's your name? I'm Callie. I can fly now.
And so the smiling thing does not talk back to you, although it's laughing really loudly. And you everybody needs to roll. Let's see, what would it be? How about education?
Oh no. Oh, actually, that's not my worst stat. I still got a 9, but you know.
I see Byron and Beckney definitely did not read the book.
I got a 17. Was it part of
Out
the
of
stats
15?
curriculum?
It must have been.
Faunus has said things.
I'm my Roll20 is giving me a really hard time, so if you could just say out loud what you got, that would be really helpful. Just sort of moving forward, because I don't seem to be getting anything out of Roll20
For
right
sure.
now.
I got a 9.
I got an 11.
17.
Big old
15.
Big ol' 8.
Okay, so this is actually great. So this makes a lot of sense. So Sage and Veshna, you know exactly what this is.
We love them
Because
cryptids.
you've heard the laugh. Like Sage, you hear the laughing from the other side
Oh.
of the wall, like of the border all the time. Not all the time, but occasionally. Like people hear coyotes. Right? And Veshna, this is like the best cryptid ever. This is the cryptid who laughs to you and smiles at you with this enormous smile and hypnotizes you with its eye.
You cut off at the end there, I think.
It eats you.
Oh!
Okay. Yeah, that part was cut off.
That was an important part
No,
to get
it-
cut off.
You know that it opens its eyes wider and wider and hypnotizes you and smiles bigger and bigger and laughs louder and louder. And then it eats you. The Lucrocata.
Callie, I would get down from there.
But, new friend, you didn't tell me your name. What? Are you just gonna sit there and smile?
And in your mind, it says to you, hello there, little two legs. It's surprising to see you.
I'm sorry. It seemed misunderstood. My name's Callie, not Two Legs.
It is just beautiful. The Lucrocata is just, there's just something about it, Callie. You just could look at this Lucrocata in the eyes forever. Its eyes are looks like they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger, like a pool of water, like one of those pools of water that those beautiful fish swim in. And it's hypnotic like that too. And you're just getting closer and closer. Your two
I would like
faces.
to do a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, please do. 'Cause
I would like to reach out in fear for Callie's life and hopefully summon a vine that will grab Callie's ankle. And please come back down here.
Okay.
No,
roll
it's
magic.
fly.
Let's see.
So it's gonna be magic engineering.
Yeah, and Veshna, did you want to help? Are you going to sing an inspirational song?
I was going to say I would like to help by
Rosewood,
singing
you're
a really distracting song and
Is it going to be
coordinating.
heard it through the grapevine or something?
I think it's going to be a very up-tempo version of "Take That Look Off Your Face" from Song and Dance. And so I think that there's going to be like a sort of fish choir, like doing a lot of situation in the back.
So both of you need to roll.
I'm gonna be taking advantage on that one because I'm not
I was,
letting Callie die.
I was gonna say, both of you have advantages if you want to use them.
I got a 20. Is that going to do it?
We both just rolled a 20, so
Yeah, absolutely. Describe this.
So I think that like much like when you had the combined band and chorus rehearsal in high school for the winter concert, there's going to be like we're going to be looking back at Sasha like, and it's a lot of that like as the vine is growing, maybe the music sort of like the vine grows with the speed of the music, and it's an up-tempo version of Take That Look Off Your Face from Andrew Lloyd Webber's Wackadoodle Show Song and Dance.
I imagine Sage like holds their hands together and like breathes into it, and then just like, and I like that in tempo with it, but like this like ivy vine starts to like just crawl up into the air. It's like got nothing holding it up but music. The power of music is holding it up. As it crawls up to try and grab at Callie and pull her back down. Please don't get eaten. I have only just discovered I have magic. We cannot let you get eaten already.
Callie, can you roll me a discipline roll as you head down?
Sure.
Gently wrap around your ankle and start to like, just
21.
tug you
Okay.
down.
So you're just going to kind of wave at it as you go down. You kind of go to reach for it, but you don't. And then you just kind of wave. And then, but like as you are, you're like,
When Callie
it's-
gets
Oh, go ahead.
so when Callie gets down, she's gonna look at Sage and go, "Oh, thanks. New friend up there's very strange and kind of rude. They kept calling me the wrong name."
So we're gonna learn an important first lesson here, everybody. Big smiley laughy face will eat you.
Like
It'll
the
eat.
time?
It'll. Yeah.
That's
It will.
extremely rude.
It will hypnotize you, and it will eat you, and you'll probably die. Can't confirm for sure, but probably.
Oh, that's really. I'm gonna get that thing a piece of my mind. And
No,
Callie's
you
like
stay
trying
down.
to
Don't,
tie a
don't.
blindfold over her eyes so she can go punch this thing.
Ow! Sage
Yeah.
is like desperately hanging onto the vine.
It is laughing. It is like laughing and laughing. And it's pretty creepy, the laughing, but it's not necessarily like mean laughing. Right? It's just sort of and like weirdly echoing in this space.
That's funny.
Veshna is going
Callie
to
will
change
Stop.
the
by way.
song to a up-tempo, to a bouncy version of CeeLo Green's "Fu." I hear you laughing all around on the ground above, and I'm like, "Fu." Yep.
I wish we could sing more
That's
in
great.
Twitch.
Me too. Freaking DMCA stuff or whatever it is. Whatever it's
I'm
called.
gonna have to be real careful with this magic situation.
But yeah,
Ooh.
Callie stops trying to get up there and allows Sage to just stop her.
I was like, you're a balloon or something.
I love it.
Actually, I love that, yeah. Callie's just gonna hover about shoulder height next to Sage like a balloon. Just be like, this is fine.
So, Fen, you've heard this laughing before too, but probably not. You might not have the same background, like information that they have. Like that's not necessarily a thing that you know about.
Mhm.
Like the
I just-
laughing goes by.
It's just not a. This is the. I don't pay attention to what's coming in anyway, and this is just another. Sometimes I
Right.
just have somebody watch me for a little bit, and it's fine. I'll go under the water. I'll stop being entertaining, and it's they always go away, and they always leave me alone. So I think Finn's just a little confused at the ruckus. Just oh hey what, this is like it's not malicious. It's just there doing what it does. Just ignore it.
Malicious or not, it will eat you if you don't ignore it. I just
Well,
want to
we-
stress that.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's very that word you said because it thinks I'm delicious or
Those do
mel-
rhyme.
mel-
I like
malicious
that.
or whatever it was. I want to punch it and eat it.
Oh, how the tables have turned.
Beckney and Pyron, what are you guys thinking about?
Thinking about how I'm getting real tired of this arm manifesting itself when I'm not looking at it.
Yeah, so since we've talked to you, how else has it manifested?
So it was still water last time I looked at it, and then looking back at it now, it's now water with rocks in it. So it just keeps picking stuff up. Like every time I'm touching a material, it starts not necessarily absorbing it, but just becoming it.
I also really
Magnetic
like the
field.
idea if maybe really briefly you put your finger into the fish pond and suddenly it was all fish.
I think Beckney wouldn't touch the fish. Knowing what this thing does, I think Beckney would steer well away, and probably from everyone else.
I like the idea of a hand of fish that are all against their will. Like, what are we doing here?
This is
But
not
yeah.
the pond I woke up in.
Right.
Yeah.
What about Pyron?
When the arm does manifest, is it doing its own thing, or is Beckney like?
Kinda like when they're not looking at it or focusing on it, it is just like kind of like how your hands just do stuff without you really thinking about it. Like you lean back and you're like, right? When they do that, it just naturally mimics what the other arm's doing.
Okay.
You know, sometimes it'll like scratch at the ground or like play, draw circles or whatever, but it's not always Beckney doing it.
Okay. I think at some point I've tried like playing paper scissors rock with it, or like coming up with a secret, like seeing if it knows our secret handshake that we do reverse, like other hand to other hand.
I think it takes a few tries, but it definitely like it instinctively goes for it. And unless you're letting Beckney know that you're doing it, it'll just do it without them noticing.
I think I'm like looking between you and the arm to like, they've got to know, like, they've got to know this is happening. I'm trying to figure out if you know what the arm is.
Like I'm messing with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think on the third go they realize, because it's almost like it's not moving the top part of the arm as though it's trying not to disrupt whatever Beckney's doing while they're just lost in thought. So it's like lifting itself up and doing that and trying not to move the rest of it. On the third one, it's like, what are you doing? Is it doing it? And they kind of like put their hand through the arm to try to throw it out to disrupt it.
So, as this is happening, Callie, are you going for the friend, or have you been convinced to not?
Callie's kind of trusting Sage's judgment on this. So she's just sort of hovering next to Sage, not happy about the fact that she can't go up and punch this thing, but she's like, fine, I'll stay here for now. And is trying her best to just ignore the laughing sound. Pouting is the right word for what she's doing, actually.
I love it.
Little sulk. Get your sulk on.
Yeah.
If you look up, you can see the face looking back down at you
I'm gonna
and
go ahead and just
smiling really big with really
do one of
big
these
eyes.
at it.
Oh, if it's looking down, staring at us, if Callie notices that at all, she'll probably try to give it some magic like she did to Fen.
Oh, that's a good idea. But I want everybody, before you do that, I want everyone to roll a discipline.
Okay.
That's gonna be great.
You guys will have
It's
to say
always-
them out loud.
It's always fun when you hear the GM say a discipline roll and one of the players just laughs.
I got a 20.
I got a 9.
Oh damn! I got a 21.
Nice.
14.
I got a 5.
Excuse me.
Rocking a 9 over here.
Also, real quick, thank you so much to Peace Walker for the donation, and I get an advantage. Thank you so much. I could
Thank
certainly
you.
use one. Actually, what did I roll? I'm gonna use that now, actually,
Okay, great. So,
because I don't want to get hypnotized again. 10.
Beckney, let's see, Beckney, Fen, and Sage. You look up at this face that's smiling down at you, and its eyes just seem bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and they're just indescribably beautiful.
Wes,
Like-
is there anything about it that isn't visually beautiful?
It's
I see where you're going with this.
Because otherwise, I don't know that it's necessarily bewitching Beckney.
well, I don't think it's
Uh,
actually like it's not like the pattern. It's like sending out hypnosis rays.
Like a
or something.
magical effect?
Yes.
Okay,
The
just
magical
making sure it's
As
not
long as it's
just
not just
fair.
visual.
Okay.
That's very fair. Like, so you're probably missing out on the giant smile.
Yeah,
Giant
yeah. I
smile,
just
it
feel this
has-
weird, like, oh,
Right, and you sort of look up and it's sort of darker than it was. It's a
Mhm.
little flickery. It's got sort of the main head is very dark. And all around it is sort of like a lion's mane that flickers. It's sort of
like
got like
TV static flickers, or just like strobes.
more like flames. It's not fire, but it's that sort of idea of like movement and flickering. So it's sort of like a lion's mane, and its face is almost deer-like. And it has these like huge eyes. I mean, they're like big, but the more you look at them, the bigger they get. And it's just sort of looking at you and blinking and smiling at you really, really big. And it is just mesmerizingly fabulous. And so Fen and Beckney and Sage, you're just like, it takes you like, Sage, you're trying not to look at it because you know, and you like almost get away, but you're just curious. You keep, you've seen shadows of these and heard them for so long, and it catches you, and it's just sort of smiling at you really big. Veshna, Pyron, and Callie, how do you get away? Like, how do you not get hypnotized? Do you not look, or do you just have a lot of intestinal fortitude? Like,
I think Callie's thing is she's not really looking at it, just seeing that it's still there staring down because of, like, the shadow or whatever. So her reaction just gonna be to, like, I'm just gonna laser you in the face. She's just gonna, like, without looking, just sort of shoot a energy bolt up at the shadow. Her
all right,
Callie
let me-
Hammy Ha attack.
I love it. I'm going to see if I can get Roll20 to work for me so that I can. It's not going to. My internet is starting to be really weird. So,
I think for Pyron, if it's cool, I think I'm just not impressed with this show. Like, I'm just like, this is it. This is all you got. Like, you keep laughing, but you haven't said anything to earn it yet. Where are the jokes?
I love that.
And in your mind, so okay, I think the laser like does hit it and it moves away for a minute. Like, see, there's just one eye left, and it comes back and it's laughing and smiling, and you can hear in your mind that it says, "Won't you come visit? Won't you come up here? I need your help. I need your help."
So I think Veshna not only read but wrote the book on local cryptid legends and lore. And everybody knows that the cure for the Lucracata and its laughter and its sort of like hypnotizing effect is bad comedy. Like, the Lucracata is it cannot sustain its magnetism in the face of puns, lowbrow innuendo, or dead jokes.
Do it. Let's get some magic here. Let's get some engineering magic. Maybe some charm.
Why do I weirdly feel attacked by the spell?
I said I will say nothing. I will only say what I say to the children, is that if a general statement feels like it applies, it's an opportunity for metacognition and,
I did not consent to get teachered tonight.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't believe in metagaming, so I can't do it.
It doesn't turn off. It just doesn't.
No.
It's never gone. It's never
gone. Never really gone.
All right.
That I 100% feel attacked by this spell. I love
People,
it.
okay, first of all, to be fair, out of all of us who are within the sound of my voice, Meeple should feel the most personally victimized by my thing out of anybody else here. But for being fair. All right, so where did I put? Oh my God, I'll give you all a moment to get over the shock that I have 948 tabs open. Where did I put Roll20? Where did I
Come up, come see me, come back, little friend. So Fen, and Beckney, and Sage, you really want to go visit. Like, look how charming it is.
Oh my God, I'm so
Oh my gosh, you really want to
I'm
come.
imagining like Sage having the clenching hands.
If I can, I'd very much like to try and do something to catch my friend's attention and divert it from this thing.
Sure.
Put on a better show.
Yeah.
Well, Veshna, you just told them what needs to happen, right? Did you say
Right,
that
so-
out loud?
I used my advantage on my magic engineering roll because my first roll was an 8. And I got a 23. And then I rolled charm, but then I realized that I have performance magic, so I have a 23 on magic engineering.
Awesome.
So
Let's hear some of those jokes.
And she's sort of like, I imagine because of just the sheer amount of magic fuckery that is happening right now, she sort of has fashioned, and I imagine sort of like a lot of eye contact with Pyron in this moment. She has sort of fashioned out of kelp a microphone stand in front of her, a single light above her head, sounds of drinks being served in the background, a slight layer of smoke in the air, and like a
it's like fog.
yeah, it's literally it's like Wednesday afternoon at the Apollo. You know what I mean? Really, not the A Squad. So, she's gonna kind of.
There's a small crab on the top of the kelp. It's like like sitting there, like the microphone.
Yes.
For you to
So-
talk into.
Yes, absolutely. Alrighty.
All the little fish come up. Their little fish heads pop up, and they're like watching to see what you're gonna say.
Yes. So she's gonna kind of lean in and be like, "Oh, thank you everyone for coming out tonight. Oh, we're here at Miles of Smiles. Remember, tip your waitress. All right. Here we are. Thank you. Oh, Judy, looking good. Looking good. Botox looks great on you. Mwah, kisses." And she's gonna like kind of start her act. And gonna be like, "Stop me if you all heard this one. What do you call a pudgy psychic?" And like look around like, Yakov Smirnoff style. Say, "A fortune teller." And there's absolutely an obnoxious like 90s sitcom laugh track that is happening. That
Well, there's all sorts of fins, like clapping,
yeah.
and like like tails clapping the water.
Like-
uh,
like
the
stop and be
situation
like a fortune for.
I'll tell you something. I was walking around yesterday and I saw something awful happen. This town has become a city of ill repute and poor decisions. Why, I was just wandering around yesterday and I saw 3 guys walk into a bar. Thankfully, the 4th one ducked.
The Lucrocata is like hysterically laughing. Like it was laughing before, but it is super into this. And you can see its head is pushing. Sorry, and you can see its head is even further down than it was because it's watching. Like it's actively watching you now.
Careful,
like-
friend.
Like a cat, like with a bird. It's super into this story.
So
Real quick, Callie leans down to Sage during that last joke and goes, I don't get it. Why is repute ill? I've never seen them in town before. Like, Callie's just looking to Sage for so much help because she does not get any of these jokes.
what do you call 26 letters that went for a swim? And she kind of like points at Fen. Alphabetical.
That was terrible.
Pyron rolls over. Veshna, there's an emergency with the band.
An emergency with the band?
We don't have a drummer. Bubbles forgot his fish sticks.
Oh no! I'll tell you, in this time of struggle, Pyron, I would make a brief joke, but it's a little cheesy.
And the Lucrocata
Get out of Fenn's bedroom.
And the Lucrocata says into your mind, what kind of cheese do they use to catch bears? Come on, bears!
What's a bear?
I believe that I am required at home immediately, right now.
What do you call? And the Lucrocata's neck goes further in, and it says, and in your mind it says, "What do you call cheese that's not yours?"
And she's gonna kind of look up and be like, nacho cheese!
And it's like laughing so hard.
Is it still trying to hypnotize us?
Not effectively.
Okay.
It's laughing, but it's like cacophonously laughing.
Okay.
Have you considered getting a roof, Fen?
you normally have to be able to go to the roof to get a roof. So it's just a neighbor.
You know,
I'm gonna go put I'm above the table. I'm gonna go put Bubbles back now. Bubbles is probably doing fine. Their pool's glowing a little bit more now. They're a little bit more healthy and active. They've had their steroid shot. They're feeling better. Bubbles is no longer part of Finn.
What did the cheese farmer say when they ran out of milk products?
It always comes back to cheese.
No way!
Oh.
What, did that joke had never occurred to you? Says the Ricotta in your mind.
I have an idea of what Beckney's trying to do here, and I just want to run it by you to see if this is an idea that could work. So while they've been listening to these jokes, they just keep sitting and listening, and not only do they not get all of them, but the ones they do get, they're like, these are just dumb. Like they don't like care very much for the sense of humor this thing has. So their other arm, now that they're like focusing on it more, is slowly accruing more and more rocks from the bottom of the room. And at some point, they're going to try and like rock hose to close the hole in the roof, to basically like just solidify the hole and make it a proper piece of roof. May not be a permanent solution, but it would hold for, a while.
Okay. The problem is that there's a Lucracata in the hole now.
Well, that sounds
Very
like its
much.
problem.
In the hole. No, because it's sort of like really leaning in to tell jokes with Veshna. Veshna has definitely caught its attention. It is no longer trying to hypnotize you. It is super all in on the jokes. So as you can certainly do that, but it's going to sort of like frame it in more.
Okay.
So, but you can certainly roll to do that. Pyron,
Okay.
did you want to say something?
I was trying to think of a way I could help Beckney.
You could help me aim it because I can't see very well.
Oh, I was gonna say I could like set you up so that like
Yeah.
maybe the Lupercata is not as firmly in the hole.
Yes.
So I think as though there's a lull in the act, it's not laughing as like you can, how
I
when you're
got-
laughing so hard and then you just kind of like
What did
So
they say when? What did the cheese farmer say when that creepy smiling thing wouldn't let the friends hang out alone?
what?
You'd shut her off without it. And I'd like to like have a burst of smoke like erupt in its face.
I'm so sorry.
It is
Smack
just
the microphone.
so there's like tears are starting to fall out of its eyes. It is laughing so hard, and suddenly it falls in. It's in so far,
I'll
it's
hold
so
off
engaged
on
that
that
it falls in. An enormous animal, the size of like a large bear, but a different shape.
I'm gonna punch it.
Falls in. It is, you can in just a minute. It has a lion's mane. As we said, that sort of flickers. It has enormous, like, purple eyes. It is all black. It has sort of a deer's body, but it has triple cloven hooves with like really big claws on it. And it has like this big creepy smile and these like huge eyes. And it has many horns. Sort of like they're sort of like pronghorn antelope horns, but they're set up more like one of those dinosaurs that are like a triceratops, but with like a lot of tops. It's a many tops.
The over the garden walls, the big beautiful eyed monster from over the garden walls. Anyone else getting those vibes?
So I have not seen that, but you're probably right.
There's one specific kind of enemy in Shin Megami Tensei, like in their games, that it reminds me of, and I'm desperately looking for a picture because I can't
Oh
remember.
yeah, give
what
me
it's
that
called.
picture because I'm like, yeah, Shin Megami Tensei.
And it sort of has if you ever played what is that? No, I gotta think of what it's called. The one where you're like going around murdering guardians that are very big and made of stone.
Shadow of the Colossus.
Shadow of the
Shadow of the
Colossus.
Colossus.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit of that vibe to it too, where it's not. It's scary, and it's big, but it's not like evil. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like when you see like a vampire, you're like, I'm scared of this vampire. It's just very, very alien. It's incredibly alien. And so
Would you say it falls under the category of fauna? That's not a joke.
Yeah.
That's a legitimate question.
no, yeah, it's not.
I realized that accidentally. So fantastic, because I have nature magic.
That's good. It falls in. And it absolutely overbalances because it is laughing so hard, and it tumbles into the cave and like splashes into one of the pools. Much to probably the distress of the crowd. There's probably a lot of fish who are not very happy right now.
Yeah, Finn's gonna just like kind of freak out for a second and just go, no, you have to, no, you can't be in there. Get out now.
And it is like laughing so hard, and it's you know when you get like that contagious laughter. Actually, can everybody roll another discipline?
No.
And you
13.
can roll with advantage if you need it.
Okay, yeah, well, I'll do that. It was discipline, right? I just completely forgot.
This
Yes.
Okay,
Since
cool.
it landed on your fish, I think you can have advantage of being upset about, like potentially being more upset about it.
It's a 16.
Raven, do
Okay.
numbers go negative in this system with nat ones?
Technically, yes.
So is that a -7 I got there?
Oh no.
That makes
Wait,
my
why
13
why would it be
look
negative?
good.
Oh, I mean, I get because nat ones go down by 10, right? And nat 20s go up by 10.
Oh no. Nat ones are just
Okay.
the number. It's just always bad.
Oh, okay. Then a 3.
Byron, it is potentially the funniest thing you have ever seen. That this enormous sort of shadow animal has accidentally blopped itself into this cave, and you just like run up to it and put your arms around it, and you are weeping. Like the two of you, you know when you're like, you catch the sillies and you cannot stop laughing? The two of you cannot stop laughing. And it's like trying to describe what it just did. And like in your mind, and you're like, and you're like just weeping and weeping with laughter. Beckney, Sage, what did you folks get?
13 for me.
Great.
I don't have a very good sense of humor.
Yeah, so the two of you were like, yeah, I guess it's kind of like you don't really get it. Veshna and Callie, what did you roll?
I got a 13.
I got a 20.
Okay, so Veshna, like, it's pretty funny. It's funny. Like, it's not that funny. But like, this whole situation, like it's absurd. It's absurdist humor. It's pretty funny. Ben, you are just distraught. You're just distraught. What is Ben doing?
I think this might be like the first time that the folks around them have seen like Finn actually be angry and like actively like hey, get out of there right now. You're not allowed in here. You know the rules.
It's trying, but it's laughing so hard that it's having a hard time standing up. Sage, I also want you to notice. I want you to roll. Sight.
Okay. I'm a deer. Still got a 16. Hooray!
That's okay. I think as someone who is part deer, and this being's body is very deer-like, like, you notice also that it's not quite right. That it is in some way, like its hind end is not quite right. Like, it is not moving the way that it would likely move if it was well.
I would like to
So you know, like it's, yeah, go ahead.
I would like to use my nature magic to try and calm it, like speak to it as a fauna, like,
Okay.
because I can do that.
Sure.
Let's do some magic, maybe magic. No, I got an 11.
Right.
The lion mane's kind of freaking me out.
You get a sense that it's hysterical. That it's like laughing a lot now, but in that way that sometimes when you're really afraid or really tired or hurt, and then something happens and it's so funny and you can't stop laughing, but it's really, you know what I mean? It's like, ha 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 ha, like at some point, right?
Sage just gonna immediately go into like care mode and be like, wait, I think this thing's hurt. I think it's.
Callie's just like putting a fist in her other palm, like, not yet, it's not. It's about to be.
Kate. I don't know what to do. I think it's hurt. Maybe if we could help it, it would leave.
Why do you think it's hurt?
Its legs aren't like. You see how its legs? They're not moving right, and it's clearly hysterical. Something's wrong. I just know something is wrong here.
If something's wrong, then stop moving or say something. You quit fucking laughing.
I don't think it can.
All right. I won't hurt it. I'll try to help it.
So proud of
Callie?
Callie right now.
Callie's basically just gonna like, you know, crack her knuckles, do the neck pop thing. Your cliche anime getting ready for a fight type moves, and then just go try to pick this thing up and fly it back through the hole.
Okay. How do you do that?
Pretty much just by walking over, like staying away from its front end, because the eyes do weird things. And just, if it's got a tail, she'll grab it by that. If not, then she'll grab it by like the back end.
So it does have a tail. It has like a lion tail that has like that flickeriness on the back. So Callie, you're gonna have to help me out a little bit because my computer is increasingly angry with having
No
any
worries.
tabs open, and I'm trying to just keep Zoom open. So as soon as you pick it up, try to pick it up by its back end, it is absolutely going to bite you.
Okay.
You know when you like pick up an animal that's injured?
Mm-hmm.
Or like you go to pet a dog that has bad hips or something and it like snaps at you? It's
Yeah.
absolutely going to snap at you. So I would like it to roll an attack roll
Okay.
against you.
Do you know what its toughness is? And if it has any training in melee combat?
I mean, it's an animal. So, yes, it has
Okay.
training in melee combat. You can try to, yeah, you could try to distract it with more jokes, Veshna, if you wanted to. It's pretty tough.
Okay, because I
This
can
is
roll
like-
I can just roll a d20 for it for you, and then we
I
can add
think
numbers.
that's fine. I
Okay.
think that's
It rolled an 8 plus whatever stats it has, depending on whatever level
Okay.
it is.
I don't think it hits you, but it definitely snaps at you. And it stops laughing. And I think it's weirdly echoey. You know, the laugh as it goes out. And Pyron's still laughing. And then it's super awkward.
Callie's gonna like literally bop it on the nose and go, "Look, I'm being nice and trying to help you because Sage said you might be hurt, instead of punching you like I wanted to do. So you can either stop trying to bite me and I can help you out of here, or I can go back to my original plan and punch you."
It's making a frown. Yeah, that big smile is now a smaller frown, but it's a big, it's still a big frown. And in your mind it says, "Do not touch me."
Is it like when it's like still in one of the pools, right?
Kind of. I think it's sort of partially out, right? It's not
Mhm.
trying to hurt the fish. And its front legs are up, but I think its back legs are not working quite right.
Okay, so yep.
We just had redemption of some guild coins for a Busta
Ooh.
rhyme for Calliope. So
Okay. What do I do?
so for 3 minutes, essentially, you just have to rhyme everything that you say.
Oh, I can do that.
All right,
drop
3 minutes starting now.
While there is while this thing is not like freaking out, or maybe like while it still is a little bit, I think Finn is going to try to dip down into the water. And if you've ever seen what happens when you put a little bit of oil in like choppy water, like that is immediately what happens as soon as Finn like just dissipates into the pool. And I think I'm gonna try to heal it if its back legs are the ones that are goofed and they're in the pool. I don't think Finn's
Okay.
ever tried this on anything that wasn't his fish before, so I don't know how this is gonna go.
We trying some things tonight.
Yeah, the Lucrocon is in the little lake. Its back legs start to shake. I think you're gonna have to roll.
Let's do it. Magic?
So see if you can make it whole.
I apologize already because this is my whole MO is helping people. I'm a helpy person. I'm gonna bring a lot of energy to the team.
Heck yeah, I'm here for it. Okay, I'm gonna use advantage. I've got an advantage. I'm gonna use that advantage now. An 8 doesn't feel satisfied. Let's give this another go.
And
14
how?
is better. 14 is better. So I'm a 14 altogether.
All right, 14 is better.
Better
Finn
than an
makes
8.
it wetter. I don't know. Or perhaps there's another cheese joke about cheddar? Forget her.
1 minute left.
Does Finn end up healing the thing at all?
I'm trying to say, but that's kind of taking all day.
Okay.
Has Fen at least set its mind at cheese?
You're banned. You're banned forever.
Really milk that one.
Oh,
Yep. How dare you?
I love all y'all, but this is utter bullshit.
He's really running the clock out on this one.
28 seconds.
Describe what happens next. I gotta rhyme something with next.
Or you'll be
Yeah.
vexed.
Yes, or right, we'll be vexed. I was just wondering if I don't want to see anyone's like pecs. I don't know.
All right,
Well, there
that's
goes my plan.
that's time.
It was kind of a poor effort, and I apologize. I'm gonna do better next time. Now that I know that's a thing, I'll be ready.
Yeah, there's that one, and then there's the there's one where someone can make us swap characters for a few minutes, including the GM.
Well, I will continue to practice at home. I'm really good at making up limericks. Maybe at the end I'll make up a limerick. That's for you. So, Ben, describe what's happening.
Finn is just like gonna just I mean becoming the water around it is just gonna like try to do that same kind of focused healing stuff that they did with George was the fish. George was the squished fish.
Carl.
It was Carl.
Carl. It was Carl because it was Carl the
It's
Carl.
hard.
Yeah,
They
that's
all do
right,
kind of look alike.
Carl.
Yeah.
That gills
Carl,
people.
we're three-dimensional in this room, and you can't be flat. Yeah, so just kind of like filling the area around it. Like honestly, it probably bleeds a little bit because water got to get in somehow. So like the water might tinge just a little bit red, but I think it kind of starts to try to shape the legs into how they were. They have no idea what they're doing. This is 1,000 times bigger than anything they've ever tried this on before. They have no idea what's going on.
And I think at first it sort of snaps at you, like at the water, but that's not very effective. So, and it sort of like shakes its legs a little bit, but ultimately it's better. It's better
Also
than it
guide you
was.
a bit. I'll like show you. I'll like just like point at my legs.
That's... Oh, deer! Oh, everyone has deer legs now. Okay, yeah, this was normal.
I've always had deer legs.
Oh,
Well,
I can't be expected to see everything's walking sticks. You all have so many different walking sticks.
And the Lucrocata's like, right? 2. It does. Why? Why 2? It's just gonna. They're just gonna fall over. You need 4.
Surprisingly decent balance.
If you're gonna have any, it says to Ben, if you're gonna have any, you gotta have 4 at least. Otherwise, you could just balance, fall right over.
I was like 6.
Callie's just like balancing on her tail this whole time. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm not sure that was an everyone conversation. I think that was just for Ben. So I think that once you get on there, you see that part of the issue is that it has a very large wound on the back of it, but it's like one of those wounds, like it has fur kind of, so you just couldn't really see it. And its blood is very dark, and its fur is very dark, and it was literally above you and you couldn't see it. So I think part of the issue is that it has this sort of like very large wound. And so I don't know that you like totally fix it, but you sort of like stitch it back up.
I can help it scab if nothing,
Yeah, I think
Just
it's
a
sort
good
of,
scab.
it stitches back up, and it's sort of like it turns around. Pyron, where are you at this point? Do you still have your like arm around it laughing, or have you stopped?
I think so. I didn't see the appeal before, but I kind of get it now. Veshna, can this thing open for us in the future?
I think Veshna sort of like, I imagine Veshna has glasses, and I think she sort of like pushes them up her nose, and very much in the like, I'm the entertainment manager now, and says, I am open to a showcase, and a short-term contract with options for a continuance. I think we could really make something work here. You know, I think we could really we could enter into a mutually beneficial relationship. Merch sales, we will obviously have a sort of breakdown with that, but I will definitely get some paperwork together and we can have our people hash it out.
And it sort of opens its eyes big again and says, and in all of mine says, I'm terribly hungry.
I'm a little famished too. Do you have like lunch in here, Fen?
Ben did tell y'all to pack a lunch.
I
Way
have
back
granola.
like 2 sessions ago.
I have mentioned granola several
My
times.
bugs got wet though.
Oh, I've got fish. There's fish food. It's food. I don't know if you eat it, but I mean it can be Pyron food if you eat it. I don't know. The fish like it.
We settled on a no on the mushrooms, right? Was that like a hard
It's
no?
a definitive hard no on the mushrooms.
Okay.
I think
those
Veshna's
mushrooms got me high just from holding them. I wouldn't recommend eating them.
We will discuss that later.
I am terribly hungry.
What do you eat?
And you can see it's sort of like starting to try to hypnotize you and then also like not at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like kind of not really look at you guys.
Yeah.
Ideally meat.
So, I would like to point out that Fen did just give you a little heal there, and it would be very rude to eat someone who just healed you in their own room. Very rude.
It's an excellent point. That's an excellent point, Sage. Thank you so much for putting that on the table for me.
I understand that, dear legs.
Callie looks at this thing and goes, all right, if I go find you food, do you promise not to eat anybody in here while I'm gone?
No?
I could make you our food instead. So I think I'm being kind of nice
And
here.
now and then it laughs really loud. and it starts like weeping again or laughing. I cannot promise.
I think it's
Callie
time
goes,
for you to go.
Yeah.
I don't want you in my room anymore. Could you please leave?
And it looks up. And it looks down at you. And it's sort of like, I cannot.
Veshna gets the like fish band back together for another rousing chorus of the Vine song. She sort of is like you see like fish start picking up like shells and reeds and like little things, and she's like leading them through some warm up tetrachords.
I bet between the two of us, we might be able to get the fish to do like a pyramid, like a tumbling routine, and you could just climb on up.
I could just eat you through the hole.
I think while everyone's been doing this, Beckney has slowly been assembling little constructions out of rocks with their hand. And it's just like they put their hand down, lift it up, and it's like they're just fully forming it. Just little like diorama sets around the place out of rocks that kind of stay together for a little while. Like,
I feel like Veshna sort of has like the fish band do like a little wah-la swirl as the group realizes what Beckney is doing, like dun 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 dun.
And Beckney like looks up like, what's going on?
We're attempting to get the Alucard out of the hole.
Is that the big thing?
Yes. Smiley over there.
And Beckney just does a big like,
And it does this enormous smile back.
Could Beckney make like little stairs for it to climb up to get out of the hole?
I can try.
We could always, offer you some rousing and inspiring musical accompaniment.
Beckney's not much of a music fan.
the imaginary fish band.
They have no rhythm. So while they don't necessarily say no, they just don't say yes.
I think Beckney's also probably had to endure a lot of Pyron rehearsing very poorly over the course of our lives.
So their impression of music is either it's Wisteria or it's Pyron.
Oh, that would hurt him so much to
Yeah,
hear.
they never say it to him, but
Oh no.
Are there plants visible outside of the hole?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's like maybe Spanish mossy kind of stuff like in the hole. And there's clearly like trees and bushes and stuff up above.
you thinking like a tandem?
I had an idea because I could talk to Flora now.
Hmm.
Maybe I could convince them to come on down and lift it up. But I also
Okay.
don't want to hog spotlight.
No,
'cause
you
I've
do
been
your
doing
thing.
a
I'm
lot
good.
of magic.
That's okay. Yeah, I mean, I like all these plans.
There's so many
I want to
plans.
see. I want to see Beckney's. I want to see how Beckney's goes.
I also sort of feel like the Lucrocata turns its head like the shadow creatures in Twilight Princess, where it sort of turns its head like very far to the side sometimes when it's looking at you. Like,
Mhm.
you know, and it has that sort of shadow aspect to it.
That it looks like, but I assume it looks cool.
It's a little disturbing and very cool.
If you haven't played Twilight Princess,
I have no intention to play it.
it's amazing. You should at least find out what the
look
shadow
it up.
people look like. They're very cool.
I'll find a picture.
You like the aesthetic. It's nice.
But yeah, Beckney is going to try to assemble a staircase at least most of the way up. They kind of ask for someone to guide them to where the hole is, so that they're not building like up to the roof. But yeah, they'll slowly start like literally cobbling together a staircase out of nothing.
Good
And I'm
word.
probably going to need my advantage on this one. Oh, it's a
No.
19 actually. I'll take that. Yeah.
Okay, what does it look like? Like, describe how this works.
I think a lot of it is kind of not quite magnetism, but sort of. So it's less like they're literally attracting the rocks and more like the rocks just kind of naturally start almost like there's a lower density, so they just naturally gravitate towards the stairs. And it's kind of more like Beckney's just making a negative shape of the staircase as they're building it, and the rocks are just naturally filling that.
That's
So,
super
yeah,
cool.
I think as they're doing it, they're slowly walking up it, like kind of at a crouch, so they're not putting their whole weight on it, but they're doing like a slow, probably a spiral staircase, because it's not really a big room and they don't want to take up half of it with a staircase. But just a big enough staircase that, like 2 people could walk on it, kind of thing, to get up to the top.
So, yeah, I think the Lucrocata, its like head is practically upside down at this point. It's looking at you so intently. And I think before it goes to leave, I think it's gonna put its face really close to Fen. Like super, super close to Fen. And its eyes are super big. And it just sort of looks at you. And it like makes a mark on one of the stones with its claw, and it hands it to you. And then it turns it turns to Pirate and says, in your mind, did you hear the one about the guy who filled his whole ship with helium balloons?
No, I didn't hear that one.
It's kind of weird, but whatever floats your boat, right? And it and it starts, it's like sort of hobbling up the thing, and it's like sort of looking at you, and like, and it's sort of, you know, and it goes up, and then it puts its head down, and it laughs really hard, and it disappears.
I like to imagine Sage, who up until now has like squared their shoulders and was standing really tall. Immediately their legs give out. Just immediately.
Oh no. Callie runs over concerned now.
Scaredy cat.
Callie goes from, I'm big and strong, I'm gonna beat you up, to, oh no, Sage is in trouble.
I appreciate you taking care of me.
Yeah, I think there's probably like a big sigh of relief when it goes. And when it's gone, do the stairs stay there, or do they collapse?
I was gonna say, so Beckney actually walked all the way up first, just to make sure the whole thing actually went up. And they just wait till the thing comes up, clearly walks away, and then they actually put their hand on the staircase, and it turns into a slide. And then they just
so
slide
before it goes,
yeah,
I think it's gonna look at you, and it's gonna stick out its tongue really far and boop you on the nose. And it has this really long snake tongue. And I think that you don't necessarily, like, I feel like Beckney's pretty nearsighted, right? So I think it like turns its head almost completely upside down, sticks its really long purple snake tongue, and finally, like, and it boops you on the nose, and it sort of like goes off.
Beckney kind of like waits till it turns around to give like a, and then realizes they do that with the rock armor, and like, ow, ow. And then yeah, they'll turn the stairs into a slide, and like, woo. As they're going down, the stairs like are crumbling behind them, so it's creating kind of, when you put gravel on a slide at the playground, it's creating that kind of effect.
Oh, I love that.
Is it falling in the ponds?
Yeah, I think it's falling back to where it was. Like it's almost like it's naturally going back to where it was before the stairs formed.
Okay. I'm not sure how that impacts the ponds.
I don't think it's violent. Let's put it that way.
But
it's
I
almost like
wonder
watching something in reverse.
Okay, that sounds fair. So you can, as it like goes away, you can hear the laughing go away. And
Once
in the
Callie's
far-
sure that,
Oh, go ahead.
so once Callie's sure that Sage is okay, she's gonna turn to Beckney and just be like, "That was so cool," and just like tell Beckney good job and all that stuff.
Beckney gives a rocky thumbs up, and then the rock arm like disappears. It's almost like Terminator a little. Whereas they're giving the thumbs up, the arm like dissipates.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
So I think suddenly, as the adrenaline comes out, and you're no longer in this situation of joking and death, you guys are so tired. You are so tired. And it's probably like late afternoon at this point, mid-afternoon, right? You got there, it took a while to get there, and now you've had this experience, and you are really tired. And I think you're gonna have to figure out what you're gonna do next.
We'll break out the granola.
And is it okay if we stay the night?
It's fun with me, but I don't. Your parents might worry.
He just gives a little shrug, like,
Oh god.
If anyone would have noticed or not, but Finn is still inside the water. Like Finn has not come back up into their humanoid shape yet.
You okay there, Fen?
Yeah, no, I'm just tired. That's all. Just that's effort to stay that and kind of a little more neutral to stay this. So I'm just kind of, losing my current for a second. Catching my current? I don't know. Y'all would say catching your breath, but not that, because I don't breathe. And I think like every time they talk, just the pool like lights up and more ripples.
Yeah. And there's definitely room at the end, sort of where I think where the hole was is definitely a more land-ish part of it. Maybe there's like moss on some of the rocks and stuff. Like there's definitely enough room, not probably like a lot of room, but there's enough for people to just sort of chill out.
I don't know about y'all, but Faunus does not know I'm here, and I do need to get back home tonight, so I, myself, am going to have some granola. And then, Fen, if possible, I would like to go home.
Yeah, that's no problem. If you're leaving, we should probably all stay together then. I can take everybody to the front door. Or there's another spot a little ways down the river if we don't want to be seen coming out of my house, because people might be coming back home, but that's fine. The river's pretty calm at a certain point. Like I could, over by the beach, the little pebble beach. We could probably get there pretty easy. At least with our heads out of the water this time. Your head's out of the water this time. Sorry.
No worries.
And so I think we're gonna fast forward a little bit in time, and we're gonna see everybody coming out of the beach, like out on the beach, and everybody is that sort of tired, that like bone tired, when you've like laughed and wept all day long and also run a marathon. Like you're like physically and emotionally, you are like dragging ass. And Veshta, like, we see Veshta like come in, Callie come in, and like, Peru is like trying to show them some mail that came in or whatever, and they just sort of like slink into bed. And like Pyron and Beckney like don't even like make.
I was gonna say Beckney does not even make it to bed.
Yeah, he's like asleep, right? Pyron's like carrying Beckney, and they are like sleeping on the couch in the like sitting area, the like
We're not going up
area
those
for them
stairs.
there.
No.
Yeah.
No, I think our uncle's gonna have to take
Yeah.
care of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Toots is like carrying you guys upstairs and being like, dude, this is like, whoa, these guys, what have they been up to? This is like, I haven't seen anybody all day long at the library. Now everybody's so tired.
I think as they're going upstairs, little pebbles, every time Toots kind of takes a step, pebbles start falling out of Beckney's pockets. Because they never
You're
get them
like,
back out.
Dude, good thing Larkin's not here to see this. And Sage, I think you're gonna slowly make your way back to the house too.
I have so far to walk.
So far to walk. And you like eventually stagger through the front door. And of course, Faunus is there, sort of looking at you knowingly.
I did magic today. I'm going to go to bed and pass out. Good night.
And I think they get up and like give you a kiss on the forehead and say, we'll talk about it in the morning.
Thank you.
And they sort of like make sure you have some blankets. And then I think we go back to Fen, and Fen, you are by yourself back in your room. And there is a rock there with 3 deep claw marks. like a small rock. And it definitely gives off some kind of vibe.
Like, what kind of vibe do you mean? Like, this is cool vibe, or like, this is magical vibe?
It gives off that this is magical vibe, and I think you get the feeling that it might come in handy someday. Or it was given to you for some sort of purpose.
Okay. Cool. So we'll kind of look over at the pile of things that Veshna pulled out of Finn earlier today. And the one thing that Pyron saved, kind of this new thing, and just kind of like put them in separate bags and not be happy about the fact that Wisteria is going to be upset that I lost some of their stuff. And I think Finn is going to try to like pull himself together and kind of sit on kind of like one of the artificial walls between the ponds and just sit for a second, and you see just the water, like as a sign of fatigue, the water just dripping off their chin and falling back into their chest, just kind of cycling up as they're trying to keep this form together for a moment, and just like looking at the stone, looking at the bag that has the stone in it, and reaching it out and pulling the stone out, just kind of like holding it, and then just letting the hand overtake it. And I'm okay with doing that there for
yeah.
for
And
Finn.
then I think, as the like sort of camera pans out, you can hear like the very distant laughter of a Lucrocata, and then like other Lucrocata, like the coyote pack sort of together on the other side.
I would just like to say, no wonder Fen is anxious all of the time.
People just look in my room constantly. It's fine. I didn't sign up to be a streamer. It's cool. It's just
You are literally a streamer.
right.
That's the original streamer.
I wanted to mention Callie also, what Callie does when she gets back, before we end. So we all remember Callie climbed out the window to get out of the building. She climbs back up the side of the building, and gets like halfway through the window before she just zonks out. And so she's like halfway hanging inside the window, asleep.
There's just like, so for people walking by looking at the pylon on end, there's just like somebody's butt. It's like
Yep,
hanging out.
just a butt and a couple legs and a tail just sticking out the window. Loud snoring coming from inside.
And
Bless
maybe,
Callie.
yeah, and then like, across the street at the general store, they're like, when I was a girl, we didn't climb in through windows. We didn't even have windows. We just had doors. We liked it. And there's like, what? And scene.
Yep. Well, that was fantastic. Very much enjoyed this episode. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. We're gonna go on a raid here in a bit. We got our raid cry, which I'm gonna throw into chat again. Feel free to copy this. It always comes back to cheese puns. Thanks, Meeble, for suggesting that as the raid cry. We're gonna let everybody say what their favorite part was, where we can find them, and anything they want to share or plug before we go on the raid. We'll go reverse order, so starting with Calliope. What was your favorite part? Where can folks find you? Anything you want to share or plug?
So I'm Calliope. You can find me on Twitter at Calliope, and sort of just around. I had two things that I really loved. First of all, I just love as slowly getting to know these characters and the different parts of them, and it's been really fun to see sort of their strengths and weaknesses. And I'm super interested in all the magic. I think Beckney's magic is the most surprising to me, and is really cool, and like adds a really different dimension to that character, which I think is really fun and unexpected. I really liked surprising you right before the break with the scary thing.
That was fun. Awesome. Anything else to share?
Nope. Come back next
All
week.
right.
See what we do next.
It's I'm sure will be very silly and fun and hilarious. Hannah, what was your favorite part? Where can folks find you? Anything you want to share or plug?
I like seeing Fen actually get angry. I'm so tired. And I really enjoyed Veshna's show. I love how theatrical she is. It's very fun. Where you guys can find me next, I will be back here on Raven's channel Fridays, noon Mountain Time slot for Neon Devils 2, in which I play V, who is fun and charming and definitely not hiding anything. Wink. So come for some urban magic criminal shenanigans. And maybe a revolution, who knows?
Little bit one.
Little revolution is a treat.
Yeah. All right. Pat, what was your favorite part? Where can folks find you? Anything you want to share or plug?
Yeah. Oh my, I mean, I definitely love just everybody discovering their magic, but I think Fen's might, like, Beckney's, because Beckney was mentioned already, but also Fen, like, no, I don't have magic. I can just bring the dead back to life. That's just normal water people things.
Hashtag water people things.
But yeah, I'm Pat, a Tactric on Twitter and Twitch, and you can find me next, I think maybe on Sunday on my channel for Ruby Tooth Bay with several of the people here for our Urban Shadows 2nd Edition campaign.
Awesome.
And it's great, and I love it. It's so much fun. And also, I think tomorrow I'll probably get out a more like official looking for players announcement for something that Zan is going to be running. A 3-part. They came from beneath the deep, beneath the ocean waves. Word. I'm missing the last word, but I.
C.
It's C. It's not A. It's not B. It's not D. It's C, Patrick. It's C.
Yes.
It's always C.
We're going to be doing like an original movie and then the sequel and then the prequel. And so it's going to be like a 3-week thing. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Sequel?
Yes. See, that's the mnemonic that I needed.
That took me a second to get.
Just getting you back
Awesome.
for all those times that you made jokes like that.
That's totally fair. All right, next we got Jay. What was your favorite part? Where can folks find you? And anything you want to share or plug?
God, I don't like everyone has said, discovering everyone else's magic was really cool. I think my favorite part was probably the Pyron and Veshna special. Was watching that whole spiel go on, because it was really cool seeing characters interact that don't normally interact. You know what I mean? Like, we have our own kind of, like, obviously Beckney and Pyron are kind of together, and then Veshna and Sage kind of like play off of each other. Callie kind of plays off with Beckney and Pyron. Like, it was just interesting seeing those groups shift a bit. And as well, yeah, it's like seeing the different sides of Fen that we normally haven't seen. Especially the anger, but also the compassionate frustration, like frustrated compassion, I think was really interesting. I think Zan embodied that really well. This was a really good session. I am also exhausted, so apologies for being super quiet tonight. Where you can find me next will be on Saturday, which is at 6 Mountain Time for Animus Absentus, which is a show that I'm in, and it's a show. It's all I've got. It's a mess, but it's a wonderful mess, and we love it. So yeah.
Awesome. I'm gonna hop over to Icy Historian next. What was your favorite part? Where can folks find you? Anything you want to share or plug?
Oh man, so well, I'm IC Historian. IC Historian every place I feel like being found on the internet. You can follow me on Twitter for me to get angry about things that are terrible and stupid, and also talk about education and games and nerd things. And I graduate with my second master's degree on Sunday, so I may not be actually at Urban Shadows, but yeah, that's kind of what I do. But you can find me there on Sundays. We have our finale of our End Times campaign coming up on Polished Cryptids channel, and you can find me here on Tuesdays for Standing Stones and any place where anybody forgot to lock the windows. There we are. That's me.
That's awesome. Congrats on the degree. That's amazing. It's fantastic. Next, Zan, what was your favorite part? Where can folks find you, and anything you want to share or plug?
Yeah, I'm Zan. I'm a professional DM and content creator for 5e World of Darkness, Powered by the Apocalypse, and a whole bunch of other really cool games. The next place that you'll be able to catch me, and I believe at least one of the wonderful people on the screen. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Mr. I forgot to say anything about that, Patrick. I'm going to be running my first TTRPG on my Twitch channel tomorrow, which is going to be Pilot Hill. The name of this adventure that I've made before ever running this game before. It's going to be a Blazing Haze. And so it's going to be a wild little time about people delivering pizza somewhere that they probably have bigger priorities than delivering pizza. You can get other than that, you can catch me Tuesdays and Friday mornings in the wee early hours over on Polished Cryptids channels, Sunday night over on a Tactics channel, and I'm sure I'll be showing up and doing some other stuff other places, or just sporadically streaming on my own channel with some vidya. I almost never plan things, so you got about an hour's heads up, so follow me if you want to find out. Not good with the whole planning thing. And my favorite part was getting to see like how everybody reacted. So like last time we had this environmental hazard, and it was nice to see like how all the characters dealt with this force that couldn't be rationed with because it is just natural, versus this threat that does actually have a face, and seeing the different like how they reacted to a stress that they could communicate with versus a stressor that they couldn't. And I really loved seeing how everybody kind of the decisions that they made in how they chose to interact and problem solve. It was absolutely fantastic. It was so good. I loved it. And
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I guess that's my stuff.
All right. That just leaves me. My favorite part is probably seeing everybody's reaction to their magics. That was really cool. I really liked the stone pyramid solution at the end that Beckany came up with. Pirate and Veshna kind of going ham with the theatrics was also really fun. I also really enjoyed the dynamic that Sage and Callie are getting, where like Sage stops Callie from doing things that are stupid that will hurt her, and Callie tries to keep Sage safe physically. It's really cute. I like it. It's fun. Also, it was very fun to watch Callie just pout because she couldn't punch things. Her interactions with the thing that I can't remember the name of, the creature that we were talking to.
Lupercata.
His name is
Thank you.
Smiley.
Smiley, yes, I like that.
Yes, you didn't actually ask it if it had a name. Well, actually, Callie did at the beginning.
Its name is
did,
Nue.
yeah.
I'm sure its name is Nue.
But yeah, that was fun. Like those interactions, and Callie tried to make friends, and then being mad because it didn't want to make friends. It was just fun. The whole thing was a lot of fun to play out. Where you can find me next, I'll be back here tomorrow at 6 p.m. Mountain Time for Exodus. We're wrapping up that series. Probably only got a couple episodes left of that, so it should be pretty fun. I play essentially two villains. They're not the villain, because I'm actually a member of the party, but I play an arrogant, smarmy doctor villain who had a experiment go wrong and is sort of a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde situation. And the other side is a chaotic homicidal villain. So it's a lot of fun. One side speaks very proper and sort of fancy, and the other is similar to Mark Hamill's Joker in tone. So it's a very fun character to play. It's it's high energy. But it's gonna be a lot of fun. We're gonna go kill a different doctor apparently to try to get out of this city that we're stuck in. Should check it out. And then other things to share or plug are just sponsors, which I'm going to put into chat. Fundamental RPG, which is the system that this game runs on. It looks like this. You can pick up a copy on Amazon. Just search for Fundamental RPG and it should pop right up. If you prefer a digital copy, it's currently on sale at coffee.com/raven/shop. Just like it says at the bottom of the screen, just add /shop to the end. The digital PDF is currently on sale for $14.99 until the end of the month. It's normally $18.99. And you can also grab character sheets for download for free at that same site. Also at coffee.com/raven/shop is Intrepid, which is adventuring gear for real life. It's a whole line of apparel and accessories and drinkware and things like that with a adventure or tabletop theme to it. It's some cool stuff. You can check that out. And then finally, Die Hard Dice, which are fantastic dice. I rolled one of those tonight during the game for our smiley friend. And then they sent me this really cool, I don't know if you can see it well on the camera, but it's a prismatic rainbow set. It's very, very pretty. With Pride Month coming up, it's a really nice addition to a dice bag. But you can pick up your set at dieharddice.com. And if you use the code BlackFeatherMay, that's all one word, capital B, capital M, during the month of May, you can get 10% off of your order. So very cool stuff there. And then if you'd like to catch up on this show or any others on the channel, you can do so at the Fantasy Network at watch.thefantasy.network. Just go to the stream library, look for Black Feather Guild, and you can see, I think there's about 14 different shows on there from our past seasons that you can watch through. So tons of content there. And I think that's everything for me. Raid Cry again is, it always comes back to cheese puns, because it does on this channel. And we're going to go raid Nerdsmith, which is another fantastic channel. I highly recommend giving them a follow and saying hello, because they're really cool over there. And then I will see you all tomorrow. Bye, everybody.